I'm just winging this at the park, getting the beginner session in for the workbook. Doing it in this fashion just to put it out there that we can and we do uh, utilize what we have and make stuff work. So it's gonna do like a little rough draft routine through some of the movement strategies that are going to be added to the workbook. So I'm just gonna allow those shoulders to go ahead and loosen up. They're pretty tight. And so the spinning, I'm gonna spin. And then when we do the spinning, reasons why we do the spinning is that it assists with your balance, for one, and two, it helps the hand-eye coordination, and three, it clears your chakra system. So your chakra system is the clear, or the little wheels that are encompass your body, that are that's just energy. And so you want to practice this slowly to begin with. And you could just build the time on itself, or the time, the counts. You can build the counts. Whew. Okay, so when I first learned this, I learned to just go to the right. And I'm just gonna count that after and maybe do a voiceover, but we were taught to go to the right. And so when I started doing dance class, I started practicing my left. And what I really found about that is it's taken me some time to acclimate to doing it on the left and to not that. With that being said, okay, starting to get really dizzy. See, I do a lot less. So when you start getting too dizzy, just slow it down. Do your best to spot. Means keep your head in one position as long as you can. So when I started doing it to the left, I found that I got a lot more dizzy. I get dizzier with that, and I'm not sure why. I need to dive into some research with it, but I'm gearing up to rewrite, do a reformatting and a rewrite to the habit reality reframe, just because like when I do these techniques, I add them on the fly. So it's, stuff that I have incorporated. And so the dive here really assists with getting those joints loose. But anyway, so the mindset techniques that I've been using have everything to do with just, like, because I overstudied stuff. And so it got to the point where I had to just go on ahead and add the techniques. And I had, by then, that time, I had spent so much money on education, money and time. And so this is the thing, is that I just started doing these mindset techniques, writing them down, tracking my behaviors and my habits, and I've actually trained my body to pay attention to when basically I'm bullshitting myself, and I'm actually giving the old version of the habit reality reframe away for free, and then making a supplement video just to help you understand. It's basically a technique that you do on your own with yourself. You don't have to share it. And it has everything to do with tracking what you actually do and ingest in a day. I'm finding myself slipping more and more, and now I've gotten it refined to the point of not only catching myself slipping, but kind of know why, like why my body's reacting on a physiological level. Why it's reacting or moving towards unhealthy behavior patterns. And so I'm pretty well aware of what I'm doing, where I'm at right now. I've gotten myself to a place where circumstances, they matter, but they don't. And a lot of that has to do with understanding why my body does what it does. What incidences occurred that is creating this coping mechanism, stress response. And so that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I did kind of get into it too much to where every little thing, it would give me flashbacks of childhood, whatnot, and stuff. But I'm at the place now where it's like, oh, well, this happened. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you what, when you track your own behaviors and your habits, you're going to find, okay, well, this is my fault, my problem, because I did X, Y, Z. However, I am also finding that I'm also finding that places where I took on too much responsibility onto myself over other people's actions. And I learned that that was a programmed response. So now I'm in the middle of deprogramming that. So this is the movement, the spinning, and the yoga dive bombs, or like the dive waves, dive bombs. Those are part of a exercise regimen called the 5 Sacred Rites. And anyway, so that whole technique was done by a guy who basically cured himself and a group of people, old people, using, like these movement strategies. But it kind of highlights the power of the mind, like, because additionally, he had a diet system that he was doing, and like he just met with these people, until they, like they really, by the sounds of it, with the book said, is that people literally cured themselves of, like aches and pains, some illnesses and stuff. But one of the theories that I think, because, like these kinds of exercises work so well, is because you're bringing yourself back into focus on you and taking the time to actually do that brings about a meditative state that helps your energy flow better and more. And so this is one of them. Like this one just works out all of your joints, you know, like from your ankles to your knees to your hips to your shoulders. And you just work that out like that and just do them slowly if you're first starting. And so the maximum suggestion is 21 reps. And you are going to want to, if you're just starting out, you're kind of, you know, like you're not used to movement, let alone this kind of movement. I started doing 5 at a time each day and then just added one up until 21. And so that's, and then I ended up in dance. And then found, you know, modern dance is a wonderful example of basically the crossbreeds of ballet, modern, and yoga, and Pilates. So it just fits all of those movement strategies in there. And, you know, like, it just, to me, it helps get in touch enough with my body in order to figure out how I'm going to set myself up for movement, you know. And in this case, I've been doing a lot of sitting. I have a tendency to crunch up, keel over when I'm stressed out. So this is part of why I'm doing this right now. I just decided to take the footage as it is because one of my habits is to overly practice, overly do, and then just erase it when I'm done. So this is actually a challenge for me. And this is kind of getting, if that's good enough. Yeah. This is a challenge for me to actually just do it this way, in the way that it is. People in the background, things going on, but still maintaining that focus. And with this movement, you can track your movements. So if you do this really slow, so I'm going to slow down just a little bit more. But I started out pretty tight, and it's starting to loosen up. This is the power of the mind. When you connect your mind with your body, all sorts of possibilities happen. And so for me, it's really hard for me to do that twist on a normal basis. And the more of these that I do, slow down with the intention of getting a little bit further each time, it actually happens pain-free. So the trick and the idea to these, yes, they're super simple, but in a world where there are distractions all the time, we got bills to pay, mouths to feed, you know, these things have a tendency to go on the wayside, or in my case, which the story is coming up in video and ebook format. In my case, I found when I'm in the thick of it, I forget how simple that this application is and that it can be done anywhere. I'll default sometimes back to when I first started learning fitness. I started learning fitness with equipment, protein powders. It took me a long time to deprogram needing anything but my body, even though I have been doing this stuff several times, it took me quite some time to deprogram that knee in order to complete or accomplish movement. So I feel like that just has everything to do with the way the nervous system is wired up and how I'm responding to stress and fear of change. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So the 5 sacred rites, I'm just going to go through them and show them to you. I know I added some stuff in there. I have a tendency to do that too. So I'm going to just do a real quick through the 5 sacred rites because they are worth doing, especially if you are a beginner. So spinning, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I highly suggest doing both directions. 4, 5. Still dizzy on that one. Okay, and so the one I didn't do yet is you just lay flat on your back and anchor your hands next to your body. And lift your bum and your legs. 2. I'm going to go a little bit longer on this since I didn't do these yet. But this one just prepares you to get that little small of your back. You know, if you got that pelvic tilt going on, this kind of helps work that out. Get your musculoskeletal system regrouped and ready to bend. So yeah, so that's that one, and then the the third one. Wait a minute, I'm missing one. Okay, so the spin, that one. Oh yes, yes. And so this one you want to put your hands below your butt, like that, and tilt backwards. And you're tilting through your torso, and you're anchoring back. You want to avoid just, like trying to pull yourself or angle yourself or forcing it like that. You want to align your knees and you want to pull all the way up through. And you might not have that range of motion right away, but if you keep doing it, and the more you set your mind onto your body moving in that way, the more it gives way and allows you to flex in that manner. And the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. So just like with everything, it's a practice. So yeah, and now we're to the one that I already showed you. 2, 3, 4, 5. So another reason why I'm doing this right here, right now, is that I have several tasks to do. I have a tendency to crash and burn and not get much done and not even get my exercise in. So it's actually really, and then I'm a verbal processor, and so just kind of getting my focus back on my physiology, and then even just making this video and talking with you is helping me meet that need for my body instead of like fighting it, to shut up and get to work. I'm just working with my body in order to achieve the things I want to achieve. So, and it brings me back to focus of what my top priorities are, because that's another form of self-sabotage, is actually focusing on things, staying busy, but it's never really the priorities to get done what you actually need to do. So I have this sciatic nervous system thing going on. Had it for quite some time. And this is another reason why I want to redo going through work, just rewrite that workbook, but take myself through it as if I was my own, like as if I'm coaching you. But take myself through it. And like I said, it's helped me just to start. I started with three. First time I did it, I did 3 days of what I was putting in my mouth. And a lot of that had to do with the drinking and being around people, being around drinking cultures, and people incessantly complaining about my behavior and my drinking habits. And I have a tendency to deflect that if people are doing way worse shit than I am. That doesn't help. That kind of deflection, it's a temporary fix for a long-term solution. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. And so what I decided to do, because I've had done several avenues of mental health work, was just track it on my own. Because I could lie to myself, but that's on me, in doing that. And so I just maintained the pattern for 3 days the first time, 5 days the second time. Each time I got better. And then I would write out how I wanted those patterns to look. And I'm doing it kind of in the same way right now, but I feel like I need a little bit more of a boost, a little bit more kick in the ass with that. And so that's kind of where I'm like, okay, it's just time to actually professionalize the technique, apply it on myself once more, and share it beyond what's available for free online. So that's it. But like right now I'm not that active, and just that little bit of movement that I did with you helps me do stuff like this quicker than I would, like if I was just trying to do it without preparing my body to do it. So yeah. Trying to think of namaste. The inner light in me greets the inner light in you. And I will see you again.